First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who I learned from. Shalom to the Ophelek, preaching His word in truth and sincerity to you ribs, to you sisters out there, learning in silence and staying in order. I say to you all, Shalom. All right, man. So this is the an article from the People's Voice, and the title reads: Spain to begin arresting citizens who post "quote unquote" disinformation on X, which is formerly known as Twitter. It says Spain has begun plans to arrest citizens who post so-called disinformation and hate speech on the X platform. Right? And you know what that's going to go into? That's going to go into, anti-Sem, and, exposing, Esau, aka the devil, man, which, in turn will be targeting the Bible, man, because, the scriptures tell us to sound the alarm and expose the man of sin and, right, teach who the true Israelites are, right? It's that unification of the northern and southern kingdom pertaining to the prophecy in Ezekiel, that one stick, right? So all these things will be on the attack under this umbrella. All of this is disguised as that, so that they could try to establish their enterprise, right? Moving on. Speaking at the World Government Summit in Dubai, Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said that his administration will implement 5 measures to crack down on social media with sweeping consequences for free speech, right? So they're slowly doing this elsewhere because they know it's going to be harder to do out here, right? So everywhere else has to be a norm, so then they can persuade the people here to not fight against this. That's what it really is about. RT.com reports, quote, first, we will charge the law in Spain to hold platforms executives legally accountable for many infringements taking place on their sites, he announced, explaining the executives who failed to remove, quote unquote, criminal or hateful content will face criminal charges, right? So now they put in a chokehold on these companies to enforce these things, if not, face legal issues. It says most jurisdictions view social media sites as platforms rather than publishers, meaning users themselves are responsible for the content they post. Sanchez proposed change goes beyond the scope of the EU Digital Service Act, which mandates fines for platforms that fail to remove disinformation after being alerted to it. Right, so this is already implemented, right? We see it on our YouTube. We got to watch what we say. We got to use code words. So we are already there, man. Like there's a form of silencing going on as of today, right, as we speak. So it will only get worse. It's only going to get worse, right? It's a slow increment process. It's like putting a frog on a boiling pot and turning the heat up. That frog's not going to move because it gets acclimated to these systematic changes. Continuing on, Sanchez did not explain what constitutes hateful content, while the text of the DSA does not explain the term disinformation. Right, so it's vague. They could make it up as they go. They could add things as they go. Like, you can't say this person's name in a negative light. You can't mention this person's name. Redacted, right? So a whole lot of that going on right now. Right, continuing on. During his speech, Sanchez personally singled out ex-owner Elon Musk, accusing the billionaire of spreading disinformation about his decision to grant amnesty to 500,000 illegal immigrants last week. On Sunday, Musk accused Spanish MEP Irene Montero of advocating genocide after she declared that she wants a replacement of right-wingers by migrants. Sanchez said that 5 other European countries, which he called a coalition of digitally willing, would pass similar legislation. France passed a much narrower bill banning under 15s from social media last week, while Greece is very close to announcing a similar ban, routing reports on Tuesday. So this is much bigger than Spain and all these other things, right? It's not about the country or the king in power at the time. This is a much broader web that forces all these countries to move a certain way. I'll give you an example. This is the www.un.org, the United Nations website. It says, countering disinformation. The UN Generally Assembles has expressed concern over the proliferation of disinformation and has welcomed the efforts of the Secretary General to promote international cooperation in countering disinformation. In response to that, the Secretary General has submitted a report based on information and best practices shared by states, UN entities, and other on countering disinformation. Right? So let me go forward. Right, started with the 2020. Let's see here. Right, you can read all this. But basically, they're just going to start jailing you. Right, they're going to start taking legal actions. Fair use.
The COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted the life-changing power of the Internet. Digital technology has saved lives by...
Salakia, 1 second.
Changing power of the Internet. Digital technology has saved lives by enabling millions of people to work, study, and socialize safely online. But the pandemic has also magnified the digital divide and the dark side of technology, the lightning fast spread of misinformation, the manipulation of people's behavior, and more. We can only address these challenges united through strengthened cooperation, by establishing clear rules to safeguard human rights and fundamental freedoms, by regaining control over our data, by countering disinformation and hate speech, and by connecting everyone to the Internet by 2030. The Internet Governance Forum has a crucial role in shaping the conversation. The vision of an open, free, and secure digital future underpins my roadmap for digital cooperation. And my recent report on our common agenda proposes a global digital compact aimed at bringing governments, the private sector, and civil society together in support of this vision.
Right? So you see all this humble jumble stuff to let you know that they're coming down, right? This is Babylon's beast that the whore rides on. They're gonna use power and force and the sword and famine and things of that nature by any means. This is Amos chapter 8 verse 11. Behold, the days come, said Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, the power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, right? Because we already know that all this at the end of the day, because everything in life is centered around the scriptures, whether you read it or not, right? This is what governs this world here, man, in the righteous way. So anything that the wicked does on the left-hand side is in contrast or in adversary of, to the truth, which is, the word of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. Right? Verse 12, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, and shall not find it. Right? And everybody's going to want this thing, man. It's going to be, it's going to be so scarce. We're going to be, like, prosecuted for even speaking on it. And that's why you're not going to find the prophets in the corners or on the YouTubes, and you're going to want to find information, and you're not going to be able to find it. You're going to urge and die for this thing, man. Just to get it. And you're not going to find it. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 7. It says, a time to rend and a time to sow. A time to keep silent, right? That would be that time, right? That's the time to keep silent, man, because you don't want to, jeopardize you or your family. So, you got to move accordingly, right? It says, in a time to speak. We are in that time of speaking right now, right? Until Yahweh will cleave, our tongues to the roof of our mouths. Right? And it's all prophecy, man. It's happening right before our eyes. Prophecy after prophecy after prophecy. This is Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 26. And I will make thy tongue cleave to the roof of thy mouth, that thou shalt be dumb, and shalt not be to them a reprover. For they are a rebellious house. Right? Talking about that 2/3, man. Right after that, there is no, the gates of mercy are closing. So get it while you still can. Right? With all that, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakah HaKodash, double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS where I learned from. Shalom to those for elect, preaching his word in truth, sincerity, to you ribs, to you sisters out there learning in silence and staying in order. I say to you all, Shalom.